I tried thinking of how I could deliver this message to people who don't believe in anything, meaning atheists and the like. And I don't think it's possible. And I think that if you are atheist, if you're watching this video and you're atheist, then you're probably having a hard time. And all I can really tell you is, well, hopefully you'll watch the rest of the video and take what you want and leave the rest. And if you don't like any of it, I would just suggest that you open your mind to possibilities. As someone who has gone, like, I'm not religious, and I'll get into that in a second, but my entire life is so jam-packed full of experiences that prove to me over and over and over and over and over again that this life is more than what we can physically see. It is more than this physical reality. We are more than our physical bodies. So there's no way anyone's going to convince me otherwise. That is my lived experience. And if you are an atheist, maybe you're an atheist because this is an important phase of your life. Maybe you're an atheist. If you were like a lifelong atheist and no one can tell you anything, I'm sorry. There's nothing I'm going to tell you is going to change your mind. Sometimes we become atheists for a part of our life because it's the way that it's part of our growth, it's part of our learning experience. For example, when I snapped out of my programming for certain belief systems, I was so appalled at myself for having believed such ridiculous things that I swung all the way to the other side and decided that nothing was real and believed in nothing. So atheism could be a response to that type of awakening. Let's say you're breaking out of a cult indoctrination or of an inhibitory religion. In my opinion, so first of all, I'm not religious, okay? I am an explorer of truth. I am a seeker of truth. And religion, I'm not going to try to convince anyone here to not believe in their religion, but my personal view on it is that religious organizations, please understand what I'm saying and try not to assume that I'm saying something that I'm not, okay? I'm not telling you that your belief is wrong. I'm telling you that the institution that inhibits free thinking that you subscribe to is a cult, is an institution that seeks power and acquires power by limiting your ability to ask questions and seek truth. So I believe that especially now and over the next few years, a lot more people, as they have been, will be waking up to this fact. Several things. One, that if you don't believe in anything, that there is far more to this life than the eye can see, literally. And also that there have been many very powerful, very strict religious institutions in every country that inhibit your ability to think freely and also promote fear and other beliefs that keep you in line. The entire point of it is to keep you on a leash, to control you, to control your mind. Because when you start to see the truth, you recognize how much power you actually do have, how much freedom you actually do have. And that is obviously the biggest problem for a controller, is you recognizing that they don't control you, and that the only control that they really have over you is the control that you allow them to have. And that's not always true, okay? I'm not trying to make light of the fact that a lot of the time, especially now, for example, that the situation we may be in, our circumstances may be extremely inhibiting due to things like lack of finances or rules and laws that are enforced by other people who are allowing themselves to be controlled. Meaning, when it comes down to it, Yes, I know that this video is supposed to be about why life is so hard, and I'm getting to that, but this is, I believe, an important lead up. Okay, so laws, you don't actually have to follow laws. In reality, in logical, so in reality, you don't actually have to follow laws. We follow laws because there are repercussions to not following the laws. And generally, those repercussions are, let's say you get a fine. In reality, the fine is just a piece of paper, right? Telling you to pay some money. So in reality, you don't actually have to pay the fine. So you don't actually have to do anything except for the repercussion that other people who are allowing themselves to be controlled and are following the rules that they don't actually have to follow, who have convinced themselves that they're doing the right thing, will go to your house and physically force you into a cage if you don't do it, right? So this is, when it comes down to it, those are the repercussions as to why we do the things we do. But in reality, we have a lot more freedom than we think, because a lot of the inhibition is mental, is our beliefs about what we can and can't do. But also we live in a system that inhibits us through physical confinement, constraints, lack of resources to access things like food and housing or whatever, right? So our safety is at risk if we don't comply with our rulers, our leaders, or whatever. So that's a whole other conversation that I won't go any further into in this video. The point is, life is hard because there's many aspects to this. I will use myself as an example. Sometimes I want to say, okay, last year sucked, but this year's going to be better. But it wasn't just last year. Like 2024 sucked pretty hard. And if you want to look at the Chinese zodiac, this was my enemy year, so it should be hard, right? So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just because it's my enemy year. Next year will be better. But the year before that was bad too. 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 Looking back at my entire life and seeing how hard every year of my life has been. And in different ways, to different extents, and some years I had a lot more fun and joy than others. But it was always, always difficult and challenging and painful in some ways. It was never like a good year. And some people do have good years, I think. I think they do. But for example, in my life, I don't remember ever having a good year. A good year? I don't even celebrate my birthday. I haven't had my birthday celebrated in Lord knows how long. And even when it was often a disaster. People didn't show up or whatever it was. So I don't think I've ever had a good year in my life. I think that some people have harder lives than others, but I think overall we all have challenges. The reason I brought up all that stuff in the beginning was essentially to say that the answer is woo-woo, okay? The answer is woo-woo, and you'll only really accept the answer if you can accept, one, that reality is far more than the eyes can see, and you can also break free of religious dogma and brainwashing from religious institutions that don't allow you to think freely. So the answer is woo-woo. In my experience, so I'll give you my personal reasoning for my life, why my life is so hard. My life is so hard because I chose it to be that way. My soul chose it to be exactly as it is. And I know this because the pieces of the puzzle fit together so perfectly. And it's not only one overall puzzle, but there are clusters of littler puzzles where something was supposed to lead me into a certain direction, and everything that led up to a certain moment in my life was all this stuff that may have seemed chaotic, or like it didn't really matter, or like it had nothing to do with anything. But then looking back and looking at this pivotal moment in my life where it changed everything, which there have been many moments like that, but looking at a pivotal moment in my life where it was definitely there for a reason, then I can also see that everything that happened prior to that didn't seem to make sense, that was painful and hard and whatever else, it all was for a much bigger purpose that really needed to happen to make sure that this pivotal moment actually did culminate, that happened. And then there's the broader picture where you look at the whole life and you see how all of these pivotal moments led into this other moment, and everything leads into this this what is becoming, and then it all makes perfect sense. And in the moment when you're living it, and even shortly afterwards, it may not. It may just seem really crappy, and you wish that it didn't happen, or you wish that it happened differently, or you question whether maybe if only you made a different choice, or if only you spoke up, or if only so-and-so didn't do a thing, or whatever it is, then things would be different. But then when you finally fully understand that in the end, it was leading you to a point that it had to happen that way. And it's really, it can be very difficult to accept that. But like, especially when we're questioning whether or not we have free will. Do you have free will, or is everything destined? Is it fate, or is it free will? And the answer is it's both. The answer is it's both. The answer is time does not exist. The answer is you are not just you. You are just a point of light. And it is your higher self that is actually in control. So you and your higher self are connected. So we can say you have free will, but your higher self has veto power over that. So your higher self has a plan. It's still you. It just can see things from a different perspective and has a much better understanding of why things are happening in your life the way they're happening. You, as a tiny little pin of light, having this physical experience, may not understand the you that is the broader version of yourself, that understands exactly why you're having this experience and understands exactly why it is leading to something that you want to happen, but you just don't understand right now. So painful things happen, difficult things happen, complicated things happen, stressful things happen, things we really don't want to happen for a much bigger purpose. And one of the reasons I want to give specifically my life as an example is so that I can talk about what my personal purpose is, so that it may make sense to you. So what I understand of my purpose. So do we have destiny or free will? We have both, because we design both. We are the designer. We are the creator of our life, both before we incarnate and during our incarnation. We can change things, but also it is an indescribable experience from our three-dimensional perspective, because you have to have a higher consciousness awareness to understand how you can be both in the experience and above the experience, experiencing it in this linear time frame, and also with no time and full understanding of the entire outcome, everything, every part of it, how things play out, and why things need to happen in the moment the way that they are. And then also that this broader version of you can communicate and does communicate with your current physical version of yourself. But the physical version does not always listen, and therefore there are other things at play, because the entire experience is not just you. It's not just you as an avatar and how you think and feel and the choices you make and the things you say and whatever else. Your entire experience, this couch, the air I'm breathing, the light on my face, other people who interact with me, all of it is all a projection of my consciousness. And I'm not trying to get into solipsism. So I am not the only one who exists, but everything I experience is a projection of my consciousness, because it's like a projector on a screen. You're watching the movie, the projector is projecting. So the projector, I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but I think you get what I'm saying, okay? I think you get what I'm saying. So we can make choices, and as we make choices, we do have free will to make choices, but we are also guided not only by other forces like your guides, angels, whatever else. You're also guided by your higher self, and your reality, being that it is a projection of your consciousness, your higher self has the ability to create things such as obstacles, such as feedback, such as someone coming into your life and saying the perfect thing at the perfect time, and so on. Your higher self is creating the environment that you are operating in to help you navigate those choices, whether you are aware of that or not, or whatever. So the choices that you are making are guided for part of the purpose. There is a bigger purpose to your experience in life, and that is what I'm going to get to in my personal experience. So in my personal experience, I know that I came here, now I know. So I had a very hard life. And I wanted to leave this realm many times. I still occasionally think of leaving this realm. It is a product of this avatar. This avatar came in with these influences in my birth chart or whatever it is that caused me to have this inclination to want to leave this realm. But because of everything that I've learned, and as much as I've grown and healed and everything like that, there's also another part of me that understands, that can separate what I know to be true and this reaction that the body is having. And so anyways, point is that I've had a hard life, and that was all leading up to where I am now. Because what we also want to understand is that we are not the only one in our experience, that there are other people, and there is the collective. And the collective, we are a cell in this bigger body that is the collective, okay? So everything that we do, we are also a hologram, meaning a microcosm of the macrocosm. And it's not just your personal experience, which directly that's what it is. So what is within you is also experienced without. It's just, it's the most prominent way to understand that is how our beliefs, if you're like in a real garbage mood all the time, or you have a belief that of lack, okay, that's what you're going to experience in life. You're going to experience feedback that tells you that you have a reason to feel bad, and that you should feel lack because there's nothing. That is a direct correlation between what is within you and what you are experiencing in your external environment. So that's one aspect of it, but also there's the collective that is also experiencing this. So this like collective agreement of what this realm is, this game is. It's not just you are experiencing your own personal world in a bigger world. You're having this experience within the collective game where other people are also experiencing their own personal world. And because there is a collective consciousness where we are all affecting each other on this conscious electromagnetic level, what is within you doesn't just affect your personal experience, it also affects other people's personal experience by affecting what is within them. So as we grow and heal and change and whatever, we are also affecting others and helping them grow and change, and so on. When you start letting go of negative beliefs and fears and that kind of thing, you're helping other people also do that. Will it happen to everybody all at the same time? Of course not. But anyone who is more in tune with where you're at, vibrating at, whatever you want to call it, they're going to be able to tap into that radio station kind of thing, and that's why it's going to affect them. So they may be, let's say they're like over here vibrating at like shitty FM, okay, and you're over here, let's say you're over here, you're like, everything is garbage AM FM or whatever. Let's go to FM channels just to be just to be clear. Everything is shitty, okay? Then, or let's do it like this so it makes more sense. Everything is shitty. Now you do the work, and now you're like, you know what? Everything's actually pretty okay. Everything's pretty okay. And this person is not registering your radio station yet. But let's say they do, something good happens in their life. They had a happy day, or they go into a meditative state. Okay, that's their free will of perception and choosing to meditate or whatever. So they raise their vibration just a little bit, and then now they like clue into yours. And because you have your station at everything's not that bad, as soon as they raise themselves to get to everything's not that bad, your radio station is helping their radio station be a stronger station. Okay, you're like both little antennas making the signal stronger. And as you both make the signal stronger, you make it easier for other people to also tap into that radio station. You understand what I'm saying? So we have this responsibility not only to ourselves but to the collective. What we do, whether we dwell in negativity or whether we raise ourselves up, we are affecting other people, and we are strengthening the collective radio station. And right now there are two main very strong radio stations. The timeline split, okay? The timeline split are the people who are on the everything's amazing new earth timeline, and the everything's doomed, we're all going to die, a meteor's coming to hit us timeline or whatever, right? Okay, those are the two timelines, and they're very strong after so many years of people either doing the work or not doing the work. They've chosen to either tap into this one or tap into this one, and there's a spectrum of people in between, okay? But the people choosing to do the work, generally, you don't have to have it perfect, but generally speaking, there are people who are generally wanting to raise their frequency, either consciously raising their frequency or just wanting to heal themselves or feel happier or choose a life that they prefer to live and be nicer to other people and try to help heal the world or whatever it is. They're raising their frequency to be closer to this one, and in the spectrum they're closer to this one. And then in the end, I think in the end what's going to happen is that everybody's going to kind of snap onto one timeline or another, at least maybe within a much tighter frequency band. Okay, so they're just going to be whoop, and then that's going to be the timeline split. So you have the higher frequency and the everything sucks, let's all put microchips in our brain frequency. I'm afraid, I want to live forever because I'm afraid of everything timeline. Not that you don't want to live forever here. It's the people that are afraid of sickness and death because they don't believe that there is anything beyond this physical reality. They don't understand that there's a soul in the body. They don't understand that there are people beyond the veil. They don't understand that there's something bigger than this, and so they obsess over the physical body. They glorify the physical body. They deify the physical body. That's what I'm talking about. So that's essentially the timeline split. And when we came into this world, in my personal choice, my experience, my purpose was, I came into this life I set up my life. I chose my parents. I said these two people because they're both narcissists, because of the family lineage, because of this and this and that, and what I'm going to experience with them will give me the perfect opportunity to learn to stand up for myself and love myself and blah, 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 blah. And then I'll be able to not only embody that, but also pay it forward and also help teach other people that. And so I will not only have that catalyst. You need that negativity to catalyze your growth. If everything is fine all the time, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to do anything because you have no motivation to change. There's nothing to learn. Just like if you go to the gym, but you sit on a chair the whole time, you're not going to get buff. You got to lift heavy things, and you got to put strain on your body and hurt yourself a little bit so that you grow. The pain, the struggle, the challenges, the obstacles are the catalyst for growth. So, in my situation, I chose my parents. I chose my shitty upbringing. I chose being bullied. I chose all these things that I knew were going to happen to me because those were the catalyst for the growth I needed to pursue my mission being the self-love, embodying strength, healing, boundaries, learning self-trust after being told not to trust myself, that kind of thing. All of that growth, I embodied that, which raised my own frequency, which means even when I'm having a bad day, my base frequency is still higher than it was when I got here. And also, I'm contributing in multiple ways, not just because of the frequency that I'm emitting into the collective consciousness, but also because of the learnings that I can contribute to other people to help them raise their own frequency. That was my mission. That is my purpose. My life was garbage. It hurt a lot. I struggled a lot. It was very painful because I chose that because it was a catalyst for my mission. And my mission is this. This is why we came here, okay? We came here for the timeline split. That might be confusing because I'm using it the other way. We came here for the timeline split. We can get into how other people in other times and why they came and whatever. It essentially comes down to the same thing of growth. But this is the big mission right now. The timeline split. The frequency bands that you are closest to, the one that you are helping other people reach through your own growth and experiences and your own, whatever you're contributing by way of doing good deeds or talking to people, whatever it is. This is why we came here. This is why your life is painful. Okay? This is why your life is garbage. And right now is a very hard time. It's a very hard time. Okay? Because we are on the precipice of being free. If you're in a narcissistic relationship, what happens when you are on the precipice of breaking free? They work harder to keep you enslaved. They sabotage your efforts to escape. They start to abuse you more, etc., etc. When you are on the precipice of escape, the controller, the abuser, works harder to keep you enslaved, to keep you trapped. They try to take your power back away. They are very afraid right now because they are losing their grip on us. It is inevitable. So right now, it is hard. It is very hard. It is going to get more challenging. Next year is going to be a challenging year. Not all bad, but it's going to be a challenging year. A lot of really good things are going to happen next year too, but it's going to be a very challenging year because the controllers are tightening their fist. But the thing is, when you have a fist full of sand and you tighten your fist, what happens? The sand falls out of your hand. They're going to open their hand and there's going to be nothing left there to control. I mean, there technically will, anybody who's on this timeline, but that timeline expires, which we're not going to talk about here. The point is, life is hard because we are on the precipice of freedom, of a world that we have been so brainwashed into believing was impossible that it is hard for us to even grasp that this is actually happening. Okay? So please, I know it's hard. I know it's painful. We are so close. We are so close. Thank you. I hope this was helpful.